When you are.
The Town of Green Mountain Falls Board of Trustees meeting will come to order. Today is Tuesday, August 3rd. The time is 7:01. All trustees are present except for Trustee Quinn. At this time, if you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we would like to swear in Sunday King. So Sunday, if you would approach up here and take your oath of office, I will come around. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sure where to go.
Let's move out of the spotlight, shall we? We can take up the whole space. All right.
There you go.
Perfect. All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Sunday King,
I, Sunday King,
do solemnly swear or affirm,
do solemnly swear or affirm,
subject to the penalty of perjury,
subject to the penalty of perjury,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Colorado
and of the state of Colorado
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls,
and faithfully perform the duties
and faithfully perform the duties
of the office of trustee
of the office of trustee
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Yay! Is it appropriate to say welcome to the dark side? And you don't have to sit all the way over. You can sit by us.
You can,
We won't be mean girls.
well, you do get your whole
You get the whole table yourself.
Let's see, we have. I will ask, do you have the agenda? I do. Oh. All right. Next item on our agenda is additions, deletions, or corrections to this agenda. Or do you have any? Seeing none, move to approve.
I'll second.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
And that motion passes. Item 4 is the consent agenda, which is the accounts payable from July 17th to July 30th. The Board of Trustees meeting minutes from July 20th and July 27th. And item C, which is silt removal from Gazebo Lake, which is a small item in here. Does the board want to bring out any item for discussion?
I do. I have two.
All right.
First of all, for accounts payable, do we have a new system? Or, because, I mean, it doesn't add up to a lot of money, but there's a whole lot of payouts on the accounts payable. So is it a new system, or we just had a lot of little things that we needed?
Same system, little things. You'll
Okay.
notice a lot of that says UMB service charges.
Right,
So that's
right.
each department head's individual credit card being used for this.
Okay, okay. So instead of reimbursement, we now have cards to be
Yes.
able to purchase. And what, remind me what the authorized limit is
Ooh, that's a
before it
good
needs
question.
approval?
So I'm able to authorize up to $10,000 in the 2 phase.
Okay,
So it's just showing where each line item, the reason it's broken out instead of in one lump sum is it's showing where each purchase was put in the budget. Just so
right,
that the
perfect,
yeah.
perfect, thank you. Yeah, I just noticed it and just wanted to make sure to clarify. And then what about other departments? What is their maximum?
It's,
Or do they have to go through
they
you?
have to go through.
Okay, so you're the card holder and they just need to call and say, hey, can you give the card number? And
They do have credit cards, but my authorized limit, they pre-authorized purchases.
Okay.
Up to 10,000, I think up to 10,000,
Okay,
as long as it's in the budget.
okay, right. Okay, thank you for that. Second is on the 7:20 minutes. Trustee Peterson was the one that moved for the executive session.
Thank you. I will correct that.
All right. Anything else?
This is Silver, remember just an FYI that it's getting done.
Yes. Yes, we are pumping out enough water to leave some to keep the fish and whatever that lives in there alive. Remove the silt at the lake inlet and at the corner near Upassan Hotel, where it builds up. And the good thing about doing it now is if they can also go ahead with the, if we get lucky enough that the stilling basins can happen reasonably, then we shouldn't have to do this so soon next time. So, if there's no further questions on this consent agenda, I would move that we approve as corrected.
I'll second.
There's no further discussion. All those in favor vote by saying aye, and that motion passes. Item 5 is a public hearing, which we will enter into shortly, about the Mucky Duck liquor license application. Just to refresh everyone's memory how it works here, we can have public hearing, then we will sit as the liquor licensing board, one of our many hats, and then we will resume our regular meeting. So at this time, I would move that we open up the public hearing. The time is 7:08. If any member of the public has something they would like to bring up about the liquor license application, and Dakota, I will give you a chance to speak when we're in the liquor licensing board. Although you could speak now too, but. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think you should pass it. I think he's the most important restaurant in town, and the town is always talking about how it needs revenue. And so the best thing to do to support that concept would be to pass it. He will never break any of the rules. And although many of us have enjoyed BYOB, we would rather the money go to the town and to Dakota and his mother. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, if there is no further public comment, board, we will now enter into our job as the liquor licensing board. The first thing that I will ask is if we have any, or what are the findings from the clerk?
Great question. We load those up.
I know you have them.
Oh, that's even better, because I don't have to read it from far away. Okay, so I'm just gonna read these verbatim. I'm sorry if it gets a little dull, but just for the public record.
We're doing it for record.
Concerning the application for the hotel and restaurant license for the Mucky Duck, the town clerk is reporting the following. A completed application was filed with the clerk's office on 6/21/2021. There has not been, within the 2 years preceding the date of this application, a denial of an application by the state or local licensing authority for an application for the same class of license at the same location or within 500 feet of this location, for the reason that the reasonable requirements of the neighborhood and the desires of the adult inhabitants were satisfied by the existing outlets. I can talk faster.
You can breathe.
Amazing.
That's like a government sentence.
Yes. My godson's forcing me to learn how to rap, and so it's clearly
There you
coming.
go.
Yeah.
It appears from the evidence submitted that selling liquor in the manner proposed in the application is not in violation of the zoning laws of the town of Green Mountain Falls or any laws, rules, or regulations of El Paso County or the state of Colorado. It appears from the evidence submitted that the applicant is entitled to possession of the premises where the license is proposed to be exercised by way of lease, which expires September 30th, 2025. Background investigations were completed by the town marshal in July of 2021, showed no crazy stuff. The applicant had a notice of public hearing posted on this matter on July 19th, 2021 and big sign, and publication notice was given to Pikes Peak Courier on July 19th and officially published July 28th. The applicant is elected to fulfill the needs and desires of the neighborhood requirement by way of signed petition included in the application materials and packet, and testimony by several Green Mountain Falls residents. And at the public hearing and pursuant to all those numbers, as amended, the applicant has the burden of proving that he is qualified to hold the license applied for and that his character record and reputation are satisfactory, that the neighborhood needs this license and that the residents of the neighborhood desire that this license be granted. And my recommendation, after receiving testimony, should the Board of Trustees, also acting as the local licensing authority, wish to approve the application, the suggested motion would follow. I move to approve the application for a new hotel and restaurant liquor license for the Monkey Duck, 10530 Pass Avenue. That's all I got for you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As part of our duty as liquor licensing board, we sit in a quasi judicial hearing state, and as such, Dakota, you have the right to speak on your behalf if you would like to.
I would greatly appreciate it if the town would allow me to receive a liquor license, because I know it will bring revenue into our town that is greatly needed. So I would gladly help with that.
All right. Board, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Glad it's before us.
I am too. It's been a long road. All right. I'm looking at my notes to make sure we are doing this in proper fashion. Acting as both Board of Trustees and local licensing authority, I would entertain a motion
Where's the motion?
right here.
Okay, so I move to approve the application for the new hotel and restaurant liquor license for the Monkey Duck, 10530 Pass Avenue.
Second.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor vote by saying aye.
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 And that motion passes. Congratulations. We're glad.
Matt, you should have been an auctioneer. Yes, he did.
So we will resume our regular meeting. The time is 7:13. You're welcome to stay or go as you see fit. You didn't bring any libations for us, but perhaps next time we'll be down there.
In time.
All right, congratulations.
We'll be in touch.
I am scrolling down to find the proclamation recognizing Creek Week. Because I'm so non.
I didn't notice it actually.
There was a lot of enthusiasm with the petition, so that was good.
Here it is. It's on page.
I also
I got
Page
it.
35.
I'm sorry.
I bookmarked the PDF too. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm terrible at finding the bookmarks. I'm a horrible person.
where is this? Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I forgot. You said this last time.
It's all good. Happy to help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
So this is the proclamation recognizing Creek Week 2021. We're actually doing it on a timely basis, which we don't always do, but good for us. We have participated in Creek Week since its inception. Maybe the smallest town, but we're pretty loyal with Creek Week. So recognizing Creek Week. Whereas Green Mountain Falls is fortunate to have extensive and diverse natural resources such as forests, grasslands, riparian areas, lakes, creeks, and a wide variety of open spaces. And whereas the Fountain Creek watershed is a unique and important resource and asset to the residents and visitors of Fountain and the Pikes Peak region, we probably should say Green Mountain Falls, I would think, in their proclamation. Whereas the Fountain Creek Watershed Flood Control and Greenway District is partnering with the City of Colorado Springs, El Paso County, Pueblo County, the cities of Manitou, Fountain, the towns of Monument, and Green Mountain Falls, and numerous community organizations to coordinate the 8th annual Creek Week cleanup, which will encourage the protection, restoration, and maintenance of the Fountain Creek watershed. And whereas this 9-day litter cleanup effort runs September 25th through October 3rd, 2021 throughout the watershed, and is now the largest cleanup effort in our state. Whereas Creek Week programs and activities are designed to raise awareness about the littering issue within our watershed to encourage organizations and individuals to collect litter and debris to make Fountain Creek and the watershed cleaner and safer. And whereas businesses, churches, schools, nonprofits, neighborhood associations, youth groups, service clubs, and individuals are encouraged to form a creek crew to clean up at Creek Week, the project site. And whereas Creek Week litter removal activities will reduce pollution in our creeks and clogs in our waterways that can lead to flooding, provide for safer drinking water supply, and enhance wildlife habitat and property values. Now therefore, if there are no objections, the members of Green Mountain Falls, Colorado hereby proclaim the September 25th through October 3rd, 2021 as Creek Week in Green Mountain Falls, and encourages our citizens to help protect, restore, and maintain our waterways by participating in Creek Week activities. It is done this day, 3rd August, and we will participate September 2021 in Green Mountain Falls.
Nice. So I'm excited about this because this year we actually have a Parks, Recs, and Trail Committee. And I would love it if we could task that committee with organizing our activities and our volunteers for this.
I think that is a lovely idea. So is there a motion to recognize Creek Week formally?
So I'll move to recognize Creek Week formally.
Second.
And again, I do agree that Parks, Recs, and Trail would be wonderful to volunteer, organize the volunteers. They can also work with our town manager because the Creek Week people and the Fountain Creek watershed often give us all kinds of free
Supplies and
supplies.
things.
So it just means someone needs to go pick it up, and then everyone meets and distributes that and cleans. Mostly we have cleaned up the parks, which counts.
Right.
So all those in favor of this formal proclamation and recognition, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
And that is good to go. Fire mitigation, it's the FMAC notification and evacuation plan recommendation. That's item 7 on our agenda.
And I have David Douglas, Chair of the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee, on the line to discuss.
All right, David, do you want to discuss this notification and evacuation plan recommendation?
Yes, thank you, and good evening, Madam Mayor and trustees. First of all, I'd like to ask if Matt or whoever's controlling the computer would share screen so I can see the documents that are associated with this.
I'm working on it right now. I was trying to race you.
Okay. While he is doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start speaking about it. Oh, there we go. As everybody knows, the comprehensive plan of 2019 addressed several issues with regard to wildfire. And could you scroll down to the memo, Matt?
Whoops. Sorry, David. I was in the wrong one.
Or scroll up to the menu. There we go. And one of the areas of specific task for the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee under the comprehensive plan is the development of a notification and an evacuation plan for the town and for the safety of the residents, the property, and all stakeholders. Before we go any further, I want to say that I'd like to bifurcate the two things tonight that are in this memo, one being the evacuation plan and the second being the notification system. I'd like to bifurcate those for consideration by the Board of Trustees for approval of the evacuation plan. But as far as the notification system, I'd like to point out that what we're presenting tonight is really informational purposes and not intended for action by the Board of Trustees this evening for several reasons, one of which it's not budgeted in this budget year. And we realize that there would have to be a bid process to carry this out. So really, the second part, the notification system, is a information sharing activity with the Board of Trustees to help for planning. So with regard to the evacuation plan, I want to credit, first of all, Rich Bowman and Nate Scott, who were really very actively engaged in developing the evacuation plan and the associated maps, although the entire Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee was involved. it was through their efforts that we got this pulled together. Matt, if you would scroll down, please. Okay, first of all is the sort of the narrative portion of the plan that just outlines for any interested party how to look at on a framework basis the evacuation plan. We have divided the Green Mountain Falls into 2 zones, which are shown on the maps. And the evacuation of the town would be either through the eastern or western access to US Highway 24. And the route of evacuation is broken into 3 separate maps, A, B, and C. And the map that would be followed would be dependent on the location of the fire itself. So it would be up to residents to maintain a watch of the notices given by the authorities about the location and direction of fire to know whether the fire may be at the south, the west, or the east side of town, and consult the map that would lead you to safety. So with that, Matt, would you scroll down to our maps? So we referred to evacuation zone A and B. You'll see those in color coded here in green and sort of yellow. I'd like to also point out that we have safe zones indicated that are pedestrian refuge zones, so that if people found themselves without a vehicle or were on foot, the A and B refuge zones would be where you would go. So this is our first step in putting forward a formal evacuation plan for the town. Our thought would be that this plan would be, if it is approved by the Board of Trustees, that it would be posted to the town website so that it would be easily referenced by the residents or any stakeholders. So that is our recommendation, is for the approval of the evacuation plan. And if you'd like for me to complete my comments before you take action, Mayor, I'm happy to proceed.
No, I think you're right in having this 2 different discussions. Morty, are you ready to take action on this evacuation plan, or do you need further discussion? If you have any questions for Mr. Douglas, now is the time.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for doing this. This has certainly been on my mind, and I'm sure lots of other people. So thanks for clarifying this. I did just have one question. In the description, it states that Ute Pass Elementary will be the area to the east. What do you call it, like the safe zone, but I see that it's the lake, so that's the only thing I would want to clarify. If it is the lake, then just change the language in the...
Well, actually, we have also indicated, I think in the verbiage, that the school would be a safe zone, but we wanted to provide locations that were nearer into the center of town for people that might be on foot as pedestrians.
Okay. And so the safe zones are not necessarily for pedestrians?
It is primarily designated for pedestrians because in our discussion about the evacuation plan, if we have people in their cars or in their vehicles and they all try to go into the parking lots of these safe zones, it will create a very dangerous situation because it won't take long for the parking lots to fill up and people are sort of trapped. So we're encouraging everyone in a vehicle to follow the evacuation route out to US 24 and proceed from there. So we want to try to get as many people in vehicles out of town. The safe zones are primarily for people on foot.
Okay, would you mind adding the location at the lake in the instructions?
Yes, we will be happy to do that.
Thank you.
And then I have a question, by calling it a safe zone, so what exactly does that mean if someone had to walk to that area? Would they be met by fire department or emergency personnel, or what happens if you have to go to the safe zone?
Well, there are several aspects of the safe zone. First of all, it is an easily defensible zone by firefighters. It's a staging area. It is an area where we will be able to know where people are. So we don't have people just kind of wandering in different pockets of town. We will have people identified to be in these areas. So it really is a way to congregate people in a particular area so that we can know where to provide direction.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Douglas, Sunday King here. This
Yes.
is my first meeting sitting at the table. I wanted to ask you to review your directions, referring to southeast, southwest, northwest, particularly in Zone B. The El Paso Avenue is east El Paso Avenue. There is no south El Paso Avenue. So some directions need to be re-reviewed to make the maps conform with directions.
Okay, I am trying to find where you're referencing El Paso Avenue as.
On each of the maps in Zone B,
Yeah.
to the right. That's it.
Okay. So you're saying that the street name is
East. El Paso
East El Paso Avenue. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And I will say, as a resident thinking of heading south, I tend to think of heading towards the mountain, not heading out of town.
Okay. The orientation of the map, if you could scroll up a little bit, Matt. I think we have a north arrow. Yes, there we go. So you're correct that south would be the mountains, due south and due north. But we're trying to direct people to an orientation to US Highway 24, which runs southeast and northwest.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas.
All right, board. We have a couple of questions, a couple of things you can do. You can send this back to the committee for corrections, or you can approve with corrections for this evacuation plan.
I move that we approve with the changes.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay. All right. Do you want to,
I would like to see another version.
First,
in this situation, we don't tie break. However, I would like to see a corrected version come back, but I too would vote in aye that we proceed with this with corrections. So David, if you just improve that sometime and send it back to us in future. The second item on your list here is the siren. And I have read about this some, and I had a question. It used to be years ago that the sirens were bought and maintained by the fire department. And have we had any discussion with the fire department about that?
Yeah, was that a question for me as to whether or not we had had a discussion with the fire department about installing sirens?
Yeah,
The answer to that is no, we have not, Mayor.
because I like the idea of this, and it used to be a very handy item years ago. But I think it would be wise if we all entered into the discussion together, because I think that is their, really a lot of their responsibility would come with that.
So, Madam Mayor, so I'm clear, are you saying that we should have discussions with the fire department from the standpoint of making a recommendation for the siren, or are you talking about having discussions with the fire department with regard to funding?
All of the above, because, traditionally, anything with emergency was handled by the fire department. It wasn't handled by the town. And I think we're all highly interested in it. And I would also hesitate to proceed forward without their input and discussion and approval. I would hesitate to do this without bringing them a seat to the table.
Okay, that's a very simple task for us to move forward on, is to bring in the fire department for further discussion, since Rich Bowman and Dan Batten are both in the firefighting business, and they're very familiar with the fire department. So I think that communication will be fairly easy to engage.
I agree. I just think that would be a wise move to make sure that everyone's on the same page with that.
Sure. And just by point of clarification, and as I said earlier, we know that whatever decision is made ultimately from a financial or investment standpoint will require 3 bids. We are not, I would say, out of all the alternatives that were considered, we like this particular product and are recommending it. But we realize that there is a budgeting process and some other procedural things that have to be followed. So we did want to give the technical specs of what makes this product the best, in the opinion of the Fire Mitigation Committee. It really is also just to give an estimate for budgeting purposes. I was interested to see in the comprehensive plan that the timeline for evacuation and notification was that planning was to begin in 22 with implementation in 23. So we are ahead of schedule in regard, or in relative to the timeline that's in the comprehensive plan.
Well, I appreciate it very much. I appreciate all the work you guys have put into this, including the recommendation of the siren. I look forward to this coming back, and maybe we can invite someone from the fire department to have a seat at the table as well. So, Ford, if you have nothing further on this, I'd like to table this portion of the proposal until further information.
All right. Thank you, Madam Mayor
Thank
and
you.
trustees.
I appreciate the work on this. I know that's a lot of work. So that is a motion. Is there a second?
I will second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposed. All right. Item 8 is PRT Committee Fitness Court recommendation. Fitness Center is always on my mind.
We have Chair Jesse Stroop of Parks, Recs, and Trails here this evening to discuss.
All right, Jesse, are you ready to talk?
I am ready. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. So, as the memo describes, we've been given the opportunity to pick up this this fitness court and bring it to Green Mountain Falls. Matt has a short video, which I think may be helpful to watch first because it really shows how the fitness court operates. So I'd like to show that and then just talk through the memo and answer questions that you may have.
All right, so we're getting ready for the video here.
Give me
Matt,
one
can you
quick
see?
sec. Yeah, I can. I
Okay.
gotta stop the sharing and get going again.
Let me make sure it wasn't too dark.
That was picture in picture. What about head move? All right. I can't see the play button. All right. That's.
Oh, technology.
I'm winging it as best I can. Jesse, can you see the video, or at least the beginnings of the video?
I can, yes. Mhm.
All right, it is going to play now.
Changing the way America thinks about fitness.
And I'll restart it so it actually starts from the beginning.
We're changing the way America thinks about fitness. With 200 fitness courts open, our campaign is growing. From college campuses to city parks and trails, we're bringing free fitness everywhere, and we're just getting started. Hi.
Hi, my video won't load.
Hi, buddy.
That's okay. There's always ways to make it work.
I need mascots.
This is the one. I know the scissors are pretty slick. Let's try this again. Refresh.
We're changing the way America thinks about fitness. With 200 fitness courts open, our campaign is growing. From college campuses to city parks and trails, we're bringing free fitness everywhere, and we're just getting started. Hi, I'm Mitch Venaggi, founder of the National Fitness Campaign. The National Fitness Campaign was founded in 1979 when we opened the first fitness court. Redesigned for the 21st century, the fitness court is the world's best outdoor gym. Our 7-movement, 7-minute system allows you to use your own body weight to get the perfect workout. Easy or hard, it will work for you. Our goal is to build healthy communities by making outdoor fitness an essential part of people's lives so that each day is better than the last. Now more than ever before, it is vital that we move fitness outdoors to remain safe, healthy, and strong.
Michiganders, as soon as we can, we go outside, which is one of the reasons why the fitness court was such an attraction to us. What impressed us most was their basic philosophy that they want to provide world-class fitness for free. Truly, anyone can use it, no matter what your age is, no matter what your physical fitness level is, no matter what your skills are. It is very adaptable.
Thousands of certified ambassadors will be trained to deliver classes, challenges, and clinics as part of our national fitness campaign. New programs are bringing students outdoors across America. The Fitness Court mobile app is your gateway to enroll in these programs. Simply scan the new digital wall with your phone to access a library of free workouts designed to optimize your experience on the fitness court. Learn the moves and take challenges as we dig deep to create impact for our partners across America. This year, we are thrilled to introduce Fitness Court Public Arts. Cities have the opportunity to select a local artist to design their fitness court using the power of the arts and fitness outdoors in iconic public spaces. We're proud to have helped cities of all sizes raise millions of dollars from respected sponsors to support free fitness. Wherever fitness is a priority, you can find a fitness court. Building beyond 200 cities and colleges, we're partnering with large cities using urban movement data to map the best locations for healthy infrastructure. We're bringing fitness courts to within 10 minutes of population centers everywhere.
They provide these wraparound services that from a city's perspective, that's what you want in a partner like this. You want it to come, present it to you on a silver platter with a bow tied around it. They're one of the best partners, I think, that I personally have ever worked with.
We serve almost 1.2 million members across Michigan. And this partnership really is an opportunity for us to bring scalable, free health and wellness opportunities to our community. So I would actually invite cities and organizations, big and small, to explore the opportunity to invest in fitness courts. To be very honest with you, the feedback from different municipalities and different communities has been very positive.
We're committed to raise $150 million to bring the campaign to 1,000 cities and schools, building the largest fitness movement in the world. Join us. Let's make middle-class fitness free.
All right.
Right. It's something.
All right, thank you for watching that video. I think that a visual description of how people are interacting on the court is probably better than I could describe based on all the information that I've provided to you. I did, as a historic Green Mountain Falls Foundation member, I did recuse myself and present this to the PRT on 2 different occasions. And they were very supportive of the project and excited about it. When we looked at the obligations of Historic Green Mountain Falls Foundation versus the town, we tried to do some problem solving and really figure out ways that we could conform to what the town would be required to do, which is listed A through F here on this memo. And I'll just walk through that. The year-round daily access to restroom facilities. The town manager had already presented that she would be installing public restrooms in that park for Pool Park. Wi-Fi internet access could be broadcast from the pool building. That is the only expense that would be pushed to the town of Green Mountain Falls. Schedule for monitoring the fitness court and equipment could be part of the PRT schedule. And we know that Virgil is already monitoring the parks, so there's nothing really added to that. Maintenance of the park and future improvements. So in the diagram that I provided of the park, we've already gotten approval to do the diagonal parking and just waiting for Public Works to have the opportunity to do that work. Confirming that the park is ADA compliant. We all know that it is flat and that we've even talked about putting some additional ADA compliant parking out there. So that would just be an engineer signing off that we're compliant. And then the last item would be for the town to secure $20,000 in funding to install the concrete pad required for the court. I did go to Penman Construction and ask if they would consider partnering with the town on this. And they have agreed to donate up to $20,000 in labor and materials to construct the pad. So I think rather than reading any more of this memo to you, I will let you ask me questions.
All right. Well, board, it is your opportunity to ask questions about this project. Bearing in mind, this is well, how long, what is the lifespan of this fitness court?
So that's a good question. They are telling me that the lifespan with near zero maintenance is 20 years. The decals that they use for the fitness court are the same ones that they use on airplanes. So they are graffiti proof and near indestructible. And then all of the equipment is heavy duty. The artistic license for the Keith Haring artwork expires in 5 years. And the Historic Green Mountain Falls Foundation would agree to to purchase and select artwork for the next 20 years to keep it all relevant. So in all likelihood, the Keith Haring art would expire in 5 years and we would move on to a different artist.
All right. So board, keeping in mind, this is a 20-year change. If it were to pass, what are your questions?
Well, one of the questions that I have is, you know, that park in general needs a lot of other things done to it as well. And, you know, one, I would love to see an ADA playground there. That's been my dream for a really long time. Two, we really need to work with our pool to figure out what we're doing there. So what would keep us from trying to combine all of that into one project instead of this separately, I guess is my question.
So I'm going to say that this particular fitness court has some limited availability. They do 10 of these a year. And we were approached because one was slated for Manitou Springs and the funding failed for it there. They were not able to secure the $200,000 in funding. So there's a little bit of a limited opportunity. Doesn't mean that it wouldn't come back around, but you know, I think that I agree. Someone should write a grant request to help with the pool. Someone should write a grant request to do an ADA compliant playground. This just happened to come to Mr. Cassie, who forwarded it to me, and we looked at the fact that there's without a gym in Green Mountain Falls, being able to provide free fitness, we were excited about. So I agree. The other projects that you speak of absolutely are high priority, but sort of not tied to this one.
This is Catherine, and I kind of in response to Margaret's question, I actually think this is going to help with our overall access for all project for the parks. It shows, just like the stilling basins, that we're working on improving the parks, and we're not, you know, like the CBDG grant that oh, I didn't say it right. It's CBDG. But anyway, I just think it looks like we're working more in partnership with improving our parks, that we're not necessarily waiting until we have all the funds to do everything we want before we do anything. Right. And yeah, I think this will actually help with future grants for accessibility for all. And you know, like Margaret, you know, I have the same concerns that she does, and envision an accessible playground there, and, you know, other upgrades to that area. So I mean, I think this is you know, in some ways just a really good investment and a good start on upgrading that park area. And I think the only question I have, just wanted to clarify in the I don't know if it's like an aerial view where the trees and the parking are. That red line, I'm assuming that that's the solid wall.
That's correct. That would be the backboard to the fitness court.
Great. And I guess you've got the approval of the Keith Haring Foundation for the placement of that artwork?
They did. They they suggested some other locations. One is where the existing playground is. Another is down at what would be, I believe, the north end of the park. But sort of in rethinking, if we had the opportunity to add a new playground or add other equipment, this fitness court is already in close proximity to the basketball court and the tennis court in more of an adult area. And so I just didn't really want to, I didn't like it down at the other end. I didn't like the way that it looked. I thought it may be problematic for the neighbors. And so I recommended this location.
Yeah, I think the location is fine. Seems like it would have been kind of crowded on the other end, and also maybe not as visible, but crowding of neighbors, like you said, just get closer to the homes. Well, this is really great. I appreciate that that Penman Construction is helping out with this. That's a huge help. And I know this is time sensitive, so yeah, I don't know if anybody else has any questions, but
I have a
looks
couple,
good.
I have a couple of specifically for Angie and Matt. We have talked about having new restroom facilities in the parks. It looked like CARES money is gonna come through.
Yep, so the project did just get uploaded into their system. So that's for the ARPA funds, that's the new one. And with a donation that's sizable like this, we could potentially submit a grant. We could reach out to GoCo and a couple of other parks related grant sources, because this is a considerable matching amount that maybe could go into upgrade our park and our pool.
And it would be able to be counted as a match.
This would be a match. A donation counts as a match for most grant processes. So we could certainly reach out with our partners and see what they might be offering soon.
Well, it would be encouraging if we could get the bathrooms. That's
Well, I don't see this as a donation, it says grant.
Yeah, they would make a grant to the town.
Okay.
So
Yep,
we'd
so
have to,
it could certainly be a match then if it's a grant.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
well, yeah, if it's secured, I suppose. I would hope it would help us with getting ADA accessible playground, because it would just be logical to work that all in together as ADA. But the other thing that they're requesting on here, the Wi-Fi, is that going to come through with the CARES money or the ARPA?
So, yes, as far as sustainably paying for the Wi-Fi internet each year, also, maintenance, it's very minimally maintained, it sounds like, but over the course of that 20 years, there may be some maintenance that we should probably understand a little bit more about what that entails, just so that we know what we're committing as far as our annual budget goes. The Wi-Fi internet probably won't be terribly expensive, and it probably would come right out of the pool. I'm not sure if there's a Wi-Fi apparatus inside of this installation, or if that would just need to come from the pool house, but I could get pricing on that if there's a little bit more information there as well.
Yeah, I think especially with the consideration that we are committing to maintenance, I think we need to know what we're committing to.
So maybe I would imagine that this foundation that produces these, this is super cool, by the way. So I don't mean to poo-poo it. I don't want to be that person, but I'm sure that they have a maintenance plan for the item, or typical recommended maintenance and general idea of cost.
To have a better idea.
That they, yeah, and it's like a scheduled maintenance that would come with the specs. They might have that for us that we could take a read.
Yeah, and I will say that Trent Matthias from Fitness Court was going to try to be on with us tonight and couldn't. But the only the only scheduled maintenance through 20 years is cleaning and changing of the artwork. But the materials and the equipment are supposed to have a 20-year life. But I'm happy to have him submit a maintenance plan. I'm sure that they have something.
I think considering that it would change the landscape of our park for 20 years and it would be a commitment for the town, I think it would be very wise to get just that little bit more information. I mean, I like this, and I think thinking big picture and not thinking just today, but thinking big picture, I could see where GoCo might be thrilled enough with this that they would want to do a larger grant and park upgrade. So I would like to get those questions answered. And could you reach out to GoCo and just see what we're looking at? Because I have found them to be very helpful with answering those sorts of questions, including saying, no, that's a no. So I'm intrigued with this. I think we just have a couple more answers that we want, would be my opinion. But
Now,
again,
I have a concern about the overall aesthetics of it. Just based on the picture here, I mean, is there a way to do it a little more, make it a little more customizable so it'll fit in to the Green Mountain Falls aesthetic a little better?
So they have, like I said, they do 10 of these per year. Basically the Keith Haring Foundation produces this work, and then you make a selection. So it's not us customizing the artwork. It's more of picking what's available.
And I'm not talking the artwork as much as the actual equipment portion. Just the overall look of it.
Yeah, and the fitness equipment is standardized because there's the app that goes along with it that would train people who don't know how to use the equipment. So that is standard because they have to keep it all ADA compliant, and the app has to work on every fitness court. So that is standardized for sure.
well, board, what is your pleasure with this? You can vote yes, no, or continue. Oh, Cindy, you're just at the wrong side for me.
Just a couple of comments for the trustees and Madam Mayor. Just as a reminder that on the north side of the tennis courts is the Sally Bush septic system leach field. So I just want to make sure that that is taken into consideration if you are looking at doing any types of improvements on that end.
I think I'm glad you're here because I didn't know where there.
It runs under the road and into the grass area.
Okay, so the leach field, but it's north of the
tennis
courts here.
Correct.
Okay, I would think that would be clear of the area, but we would want to be sure.
Yes, absolutely. And then my second question is about the Keith Haring artwork and any artwork that would be placed. Do we as residents or as trustees and Madam Mayor have any type of review and approval of the art that is placed?
We do when it is in a public park. I'm just answering overall. And I would want to make sure that with this project, we also had approval with any changes that would go forward.
Thank you.
No, good questions. And we would want that to be part of the agreement, that the board would have approval of that. So As I said, it is a request for action, but the action can be yes, no, or continued.
There is some time limits on this, is that right, Jesse? That the work needs to be done by a certain time?
Or at least the commitment.
Yeah, so the Kirkpatrick Foundation has to get this into the next grant cycle. So there's a little bit of a time line there for them to approve this size grant. We could probably do a, I guess we could maybe do this conditionally based on what the maintenance costs look like. I think as long as it looks like there's support, could it wait 2 weeks till the next Board of Trustee meeting? Probably. If we move forward with some conditions, that probably keeps everything moving forward.
And the construction, is there any?
So the the Keith Haring Foundation and the Fitness Court needs to have a guarantee from the Kirkpatrick Foundation of the purchase. Once they have a letter of commitment from the Kirkpatrick Family Fund, then it could be shipped and it could go into storage until the pad was constructed. So I think the real triggers are just getting the financial approvals.
And what's the next funding cycle?
They look at grants again. I want to say the third week of this month.
No, so our next meeting is the 17th. So we're right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can make that work.
I think that would get all our questions answered, have a little time for digestion maybe.
And maybe some public input as well.
Public input, because it is a 20-year change to a park, and I think that is well worth considering. So I would move that we continue this until the 17th.
I just had a request if Angie, if you could also maybe talk to folks at the Economic Development Department in El Paso. Chloe, just to see how it affects grants, like the CDBG.
Yeah, I think that's smart. When we move direct to GOCO, mine is more requests.
Yeah, I mean, we're really,
Yeah, we're hopeful with that. So, all right, so there is a motion on the table to continue this discussion.
I will second.
Is there further discussion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Jesse, I look forward to seeing this on the 17th and seeing where this goes, because I think this is very interesting.
Perfect. And I'll just make a quick note that that PRT had it as one of their goals to put something together for Creek Week. So I did hear that proclamation earlier, and we are happy to get that organized.
Excellent. And make sure and reach out to the Creek Week organizers. They always have lots of stuff that they want to give away, and which is, if nothing else, it gets all the elementary school kids really excited.
Absolutely. I'm very familiar with Allison Plute, and we'll call her up.
Perfect. And she'll be excited that we're ahead of the game for once, because I'm usually not. All right, thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is reports. Catherine, do you have a report?
No, but I've been reminded that I don't know if it was your idea, Todd, to do have a what would you call it, a dashboard for the planning commission. Yeah, and I don't know if there's been any work done on that. No, But, you know, that might be really nice to have that kind of coincide with the new code rewrite, and yeah, that might all come together really well, but it was just something I wanted to put out there.
Where would the dashboard be proposed to be put? Just on the town website or?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Yeah, the concept is to put a dashboard up on the town website for various items. One could be like, items coming through planning commission code. The others could be like completion of comprehensive strategic plan items, just general, very, very high level, color coded. We use pie charts in some of them, bar charts if that's better, but it's just something to give a quick visual on kind of where we're at.
Thank you. I think that would be really helpful.
So it's like one of those things that, yes, everybody wants to do it, but somebody needs to do it. So who will be tasked with doing what as far as like updating is that something that we're able to do on our end, or do we need to get the tech people in like the county or the state to do it?
Well, it's typically done by town staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that just keeping in mind about the bandwidth and the amount of time that we have to invest in updating continuous information on the website is really important to keep at the forefront. I do have the comp plan progress report from our last meeting. I just need to electronically go through and do all that. And of course, it'll have a last updated, and it might only be updated once every year or once every 6 months, just because of the amount of time and commitment.
Right, and since we don't have an IT department.
No.
That's kind of why I'm asking too. We don't have an app, we don't have an IT
You're looking at your
department.
network administrators.
I know, right?
That's here.
I'm an IT,
This guy.
So every 6 months is realistic.
To do a full comp plan update. I mean,
Or
as
even
we
just
do
a
things-
dashboard or whatever. I mean, I guess we need to figure out, okay, what do we want to have on the
Yeah, I was
dashboard?
gonna say,
What-
before we can commit to what a timeframe would look like, the details
You
required.
need to know
how much work would
what
need
the
to be done in
expectations
training.
are.
You want me to work with the staff, I'll be glad to work with the staff. Love it.
So we
That
can-
sounds
so we
good.
can
Love
figure
it.
out what to do.
We would
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes.
Because I don't know what I don't know on that.
Right,
Perfect.
thank you.
Thank you for volunteering. It's almost a voluntold, but I appreciate it.
It was his idea, so that's kind
It's
of.
your idea. Margaret, do you have a report?
Not necessarily a trustee report. I do want to thank everyone for the support for Baroque Day, and it was very successful. And I think every single person in here played a role. So I really, really, really appreciate the town's support, because it hasn't been there for a while. And it's really, really nice that we're cultivating that again, that you know, the town is in tandem with community events and supporting them, and thank you guys. So
Thanks for letting us be a part of it.
I
Always
know,
happy to-
one thing, Angie, I'm sorry, but you know, you had like the least amount of people, and I thought for sure that we were gonna raise like thousands of dollars. if we did the dunk tank. Actually, it was Pastor Darlene. I think it's because she went first.
She was
Yeah,
selling
good crowd.
indulgences too. So that helped out a lot.
I felt like I was being waterboarded.
Yeah, my grandson had it out for her, man. I promise I don't talk bad about you.
Not every day, some days. Sunday, do you have a report?
I do not.
All right, that works. Again, I just want to echo your words. Bronx Day was a success. Everybody contributed. I was pulled aside several times with people saying how good the parks looked and the roads were improved.
Yes.
Then we had that giant deluge afterwards. But I know everybody's working on the roads and trying to get that back up to snuff. I did have a bit of an outreach from our county commissioner today. seeing if we needed any help, and I directed him to speak with our town manager. Because I thought there was no point in me being the interpreter between the two of them. So, committee reports, fire mitigation. David, did you have anything else you wanted to update?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had a hard time finding the unmute button. Yes, I do have a couple of things that I wanted to update on tonight. Matt, would you screen share? Thanks. Could you scroll down, please, Matt? Another page, please.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay, everywhere that you see blue type is a change and an update from the last meeting where we presented this format style. But I think everybody is aware that, you know, the grant is funded on the 40-acre Cusp Grant, but we're still awaiting a formal award letter from the Colorado State Forest Service expected in August or September. So that's still pending. Next one, Matt. This is new information. I think a lot of people already know this, but the 53-acre grant has been approved and funded. We are awaiting the award letter to start implementation of the projects. So that was good news that we've received in the last couple of weeks. Keep on going there, Matt. Okay. On the Iona Scott Avenue update, we did have the Colorado State Forestry Service come out and do a tree mortality assessment last Thursday on the 29th. We have not yet gotten a written report, but the trees have been marked in the area. We will use the Cusp 53-acre grant to remediate this project. Also in that grant, funds are available for private property defensible space mitigation. And we see this as an opportunity to encourage the adjoining private property owners to participate with cost sharing funds from Cusp. And we have an initiative going right now to notify property owners adjoining the town-owned property in that area to let them know that Cusp funds are available. And of course, you know, for those property owners, we will remind them that we do have a nuisance tree ordinance, and this might be a good opportunity to deal with those nuisance trees by using grant funding available through Cusp. So, you know, this project is still pending an award letter, but we're very optimistic about this because essentially we're ready to go. Once the funds are approved and we have the award letter, everybody is pretty much teed up to go in and really start working this project. Okay, next, Matt. The only change here is as far as the budget implications for the grant funding in 2021, we'll provide a more accurate update when the grants are formalized with scope and timing so that there'll be a better idea as far as budgeting and how much money is committed and will be spent in 2021. But as we go along, I'll continue to report on this. And next, Matt, please. I wanted to add a little bit to our package tonight by including the Cusp letter that sort of outlines the process for cost sharing funding so that people would have some idea of, you know, what it takes to get the grant. And I don't think anybody has really seen that. So I thought if we attached it to the board agenda pack, it would be a document people could refer to if they so desired. That document is, I think, at the end of this presentation. Okay, Matt, scroll down. No update here other than we are continuing to work on our education and instruction for people. That is coming along, and we're hoping to continue to gather resources there and post those to the website eventually so that people will have ready access to information. Okay, next, Matt. And this is the letter I was referring to from Cusp on how their private and public lands grant funding process works. Might be helpful information to private property owners as well as others. And then finally, I think we have a map. Matt, if you will. This map was prepared by Cusp, and it shows the areas of town that have been remediated through Cusp funding over the last few years. And I thought that was sort of interesting. We're going to continue to keep up with this map to see where progress is being made in remediating throughout the town. And we're hoping to encourage more and more private owners to participate with us. And I believe that's the end, and I'll certainly entertain any questions that anyone may have.
I just had a couple of comments. First, I appreciate all the work you've done on this, and please remember that when you're working on the grants and especially grant administration, to make sure and work with our town staff who are ready and willing and able to help us as that who handles our grants. Additionally, I appreciate that you pointed out quite clearly that that town money isn't going, the town money is going to support the grant. It isn't going to mediate on or remediate on private property. And I think that's always be very clear about that, because people get confused that we're putting town money into private property, and we need to be quite clear about that. And I appreciate how you did that on this particular piece of work tonight.
Thank you.
Board, do you have anything further?
This is kind of referring to code, so maybe I should just wait till the next time, but when we're looking more closely at the code, but I believe it's the Parks, Recs, and Trails Committee code is allowed to raise funds. Did I read that correctly?
They can certainly work on applying for grants, but grant administration just goes through town staff.
I'll reread it, but
it definitely needs to be coordinated.
But right, but I guess I was thinking that if there was something that could be coordinated to help private property owners to pay for, if they're, if the financial issue is, preventing them from taking care of these problem trees, if there are people that would be willing to pool resources, I'm just thinking that would be a good thing for them to be able to do.
I think that's a very smart thing, and I would love to be able to see a grant program that would come through the town that people could apply to. But also, as far as fundraising goes, all monies have to go, to
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry. It was something that I was thinking about when I was reading the new code, and there was something that applied to one committee but not to another, and it just seemed like that this would be another committee that would be that it might be appropriate.
Yeah, I think it'd be smart to look at that in the scope of code,
right?
Because committees by themselves can't raise money.
Mm-hmm.
or
Right,
accept
and I can't
money.
remember how it was worded, but it had something to do with raising funds for a specific, a specific project.
Right? Well, we'll make sure to look at that with code and make sure that everything is, filtered properly.
And is that
so
something we're
it's
doing next time?
Next time,
I have a report on it.
same place, we get to look at more municipal code,
Yeah.
which I love municipal code. Bring your coffee. I'm so excited about it, which I thought, it's a total sidebar here. I was a little sad that one of the local papers said that something about the code review is muddling and it would take a team of lawyers to try to decipher. Because you know what? We've had lawyers look at this. We're making it better. We're making it so it's up to date and more understandable. It was one of actually the highlights that I got to bring up at a mayor's panel about one thing that we're doing in Green Mountain Falls is updating our code.
Yeah.
And even if people think it's stupid or
Gone.
outdated or whatever,
They want to
It's
see us
great.
fight. That's the
Yeah,
problem. It was
well,
too boring.
we'll fight later. We can fight later. That'd be fun too. So anyway, sidebar, I'm happy to be looking at code.
Madam Mayor, before we leave the fire mitigation report, I want to make one clarification, if I may. I just want to make sure there's understanding that there are private funds available in the 53 acre grant from Cusp. And that's why I included the process, and we've tried to list it out for people, the citizens, so that they can see how to go about accessing those grant funds. We are sending letters to the landowners that are adjoining the town-owned property to let them know about this. But if they express an interest and do want to cost share with Cusp, we'll put them directly in contact with Cusp. But I just want to clarify, there is private money available through the.
And you have notified the people whose property adjoins this project, correct?
We are in process of that at this time.
Perfect. That's exactly where we need to be. And I would love to see you looking ahead as to how all of the town can benefit from that, not just the adjoining property.
Well, and in fact, anybody in town, any property owner can access the grant funds that are available through Cusp for private property. But if they'll follow those guidelines, in other words, neighbors should pool together their property so that they represent a large enough tract of land that it makes it economically sensible for Cusp to come in with a crew to remediate it. So really, it's going to take our private citizens to take some initiative and take some responsibility to, sort of to access those funds by taking action. And that's why we're providing that information to people so they'll know what to do.
Well, I think that in addition to having it here in public record, I really think we need to have some sort of a public forum and have it an open meeting and an open thing for instruction, and make it available to everyone so that they have the opportunity to learn and to know and not have to dig through. Because unfortunately, that's one of the things that we are constantly accused of not communicating. This is a perfect opportunity for the town and for this committee to have some good communication with the entire town.
So
It's a good opportunity, I think, for us.
to that end, we've asked, and we've done this in the past, and it was wildly successful. So do you think fire mitigation could get Cusp to come up again and give a presentation, maybe working with Sally Bush Community Building, so that they can give, because they did this before, gave a presentation about how this fund program works, as well as they had some show and tell about different tree diseases. Do you think you could get them to do
Yeah, there are a
that?
number of resources that we can access, not just Cusp, but the Colorado State Forestry Service has, have said numerous times that they're happy to come in and put on presentations. We're looking at using the Wallace Reserve facility to provide education, utilizing Cusp personnel to demonstrate how to provides, safe combustible zones and that sort of thing around the house. And since you brought that up, our town is at a high risk of wildfire. The entire town. If you just look at the maps that are in the comprehensive plan, and I was astonished to find out that regardless of how much mitigation of the forest that we do, there is a lot of work that our property owners need to undertake, just to clean up their own property, which, involves removing combustible materials from against the house or under their deck, or just mowing the weeds. There's simple things like that that will help us. And those are educational items that we as a committee are working towards providing and educating and providing information to the citizens. And there's a lot to accomplish here, and we're working as fast as we can.
Oh,
Right,
I
all those things.
appreciate that. We just want to take one little bite of the elephant here, and
Yeah.
maybe you would work with Trustee King and maybe get something set up at the community building with one of those groups, so that people would start getting interested and maybe excited even about,
Even knowing that it's available.
knowing that it's available at the very least.
I hate to be a wet blanket, but there were some real issues after Cusp did their presentation. I mean, everything sounded really good, but one of the things that you brought up, Mr. Douglas, is that neighbors need to get together. Folks who just tried to get help from Cusp as an individual property owner were not able to really get help from Cusp. That's the feedback I got from several people. And that's not the message that we got at the town information meeting. So, the fact that people need to get together, that it has to be more organized, and it can't just be, an individual property owner saying, hey, Cusp, I need some help. What can you do for me? I mean, I know they'll come out and they'll at least tell them what they can do themselves. But as far as getting financial support, or, the cost share, that didn't really materialize. And I'm wondering now if that was because that they needed to have a bigger project for it to be worthwhile for Cusp to come in and do the work. Is that what you're getting from Cusp? Is it they want to do a larger project rather than?
That is there's certainly their preference is to work on contiguous areas of property, so that landowners, maybe 10 landowners could get together, and we've got 2 or 3 or 4 acres of land that can be worked by a crew at one time. That's certainly a more effective utilization of the funds than just trying to get a crew to come in and remediate one piece of property. So yes, that is the preferred method. Now, speaking for myself, 3 years ago when I learned about the availability of Cusp funding, I talked to Michelle Connolly, and we were able to get our property remediated through some Cusp funds that were available at that time. And I don't know why we were successful, other than, maybe I was in the right place at the right time. But so, it could be that the grant itself is specific as to how the funds can be allocated and used. I don't know the ins and outs of that. But we're trying as hard as we can to make it clear to people and provide the information so that, and you know, it is a cost sharing program. It is not a grant that covers the whole cost.
Right.
So we're trying to get the message out.
Well, education is power, so.
Yeah, and isn't it also true that the Forest Service won't mitigate around the town until the town has done their part to mitigate?
Not necessarily.
I don't know that I would say that's an absolute. By the town being proactive, by the private landowners and the town being proactive in helping ourselves, mitigating, doing fuels mitigation work, doing our private property cleanup, all those kind of things, provide more, well, I hate to use the pun, fuel for the fire, for the forestry service. When they're looking at providing grant funding, they would prefer to provide grant funding to an area that's already actively remediating than to an area that is not. So we are helping ourselves in multiple ways by tackling this as private landowners, as well as the public lands that are owned by the town, and working with Cusp. So you know, we as a town are getting more visibility because of the proactive nature of what we're doing. So it does help attract grant funding. So hope that answers your question.
All right.
If I can
Thank
jump
you.
in too real quick.
Please go ahead.
I in a chance meeting, I'll put it on public record that I did this, while I was Bigfoot hunting with my dad. We were on Gold Camp Road, and I ran into one of the U.S. Forest Service's rangers, and we just sort of hit it off, invited her to a fire mitigation meeting. Jen Woodley, I believe is her name. I want to make sure I'm getting her out there. She's also an environmental planner for the U.S. Forest Service as well. They approached us and presented about what's called a good neighbor agreement. And I'm in talks with her right now, sort of getting that sussed out. And that is a program where the Forest Service will work on mitigation on their connected properties to Green Mountain Falls. Super early in discussion. I met her a few months back. She's only presented once to the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee, but early conversations are looking good, and I plan to have something to actually show fire mitigation by the end of the month.
That's
Great.
huge, because that's been an ongoing conversation we've been trying to have for years. Fortunately, we're very lucky that utilities at the top of the mountain has been getting very active. So hopefully we can.
We'll have more, stay tuned, probably nothing in for the next couple months, but it's slowly but surely coming together.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
We're also
Seems
lucky
planted.
you're a Bigfoot hunter.
Yeah.
Your condo.
We did. I won't get, my poor dad's gonna be like, you told him this? You know, it was just an amazing encounter. Just randomly came across her while we were out there.
Well, why don't you go ahead and continue with your report, because it's that time.
Oh, okay, great. I just had two quick things, and then I guess Angie and I have like a joint report. This is already broken, but it's okay. We're planning to have 2 board meetings per month, of course. The first meeting I was hoping to dedicate to pertinent items, action items, anything coming up, and then dedicate the entirety of the second meeting to code rewrite.
Sorry.
That's okay, because I added the exception that for emergency or absolutely urgent items, that of course we would have those items featured on the agenda. And so the fitness court will be on the 17th agenda. The second thing was, you'll notice that I've added correspondence to this packet, and this is just a learning process for me. I was inspired by Todd Dixon's communication plan that he's been working on with myself. He's written most of it, I'm just providing edits, as well as conversations with other clerks. Just trying to find a way to balance this. And so instead of listing out every single letter that we receive from every single person in the agenda, it's going to list correspondence, and then whatever sent in, I'm going to include it for your review, and it'll be publicly available.
In the packet?
Yes, and I think that serves multiple purposes, but the biggest thing is I don't want to stand in the way of residents sharing their concerns directly to you, but also to citizens. I think that is something that should be acceptable, and many clerks echo that to me as well. And so I'm sorry that I'm still learning, but I'm trying to get better every day.
Okay.
This is an example of one of those things where I ate crow a little bit ago, but I'm trying to get it out now, and hopefully from here on out, we have a consistent process for correspondence.
All
That's
over
what I
the
got.
process.
Thank you for that, and I appreciate that. And particularly in light of insinuations that we're trying to hide or suppress things, because that's not the case.
Definitely not.
And putting this on record, it's like moving forward, this is the plan, and it's taken a little bit to figure it out, but just so that everyone understands that it's a learning process for all of us to figure out what's gonna work best, and if it doesn't work good, we can always revisit it.
And I'm always happy to do
But
that.
I just wanna really be open about, there's no suppression, there's no hiding anything, it's just moving forward.
We'll be consistent going forward.
Thank you,
Very good.
appreciate it.
Thank
That's all I got.
It was my turn. Okay. There was just a small misunderstanding, very simple misunderstanding at the last meeting we wanted to clear up about the Cusp Grants. The funding, the bulk of the work to receive the funding was done by Cusp, who wrote the grant while working with our fire mitigation committee to identify priority areas in need of fire mitigation around town. The board and staff provided letters of support and committed budgeted funds for 2021 fiscal year. Cusp is the grant recipient on behalf of GMF, and they'll be administering the grant funds and reporting. And we just wanted to clarify how that basic process works.
Sure.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, any further report?
So,
Yeah.
Oh, let Angie finish, and then I can't wait to hear from you, Virgil. So hold on just a minute.
I'm yammering, Virgil, I got one more. We're working diligently on the roads. We know that there's a lot of troubled areas around town. You should see, a lot of cones out there, a lot of caution signs. And we are trying to get out there as best we can with the resources that we have. We have been in contact with the county. And, they're gonna see what they might be able to do to send some help our way. It just depends on the entirety of the county, GMF included, and where the needs assessment falls, where we prioritize in that. So just wanted to let you know. It's been a lot of rain.
Well, and I really appreciated that Kyle was out first thing Sunday, scooping up the dirt from the bottom of the roads.
And I'd like to recognize too that Kyle went out Sunday morning without being asked. He just went out there and he started cleaning up right away on his own.
Yeah, I saw him.
He wasn't asked to use his only day off to do that. He just went out and did it.
I wish he was here so we could clap for him and make him really uncomfortable.
I know.
Watch the recording.
Just watch him cringe.
All right, Virgil, you have a report?
Hang on. Okay, there we go. I'm getting an echo here, so, and I've got my earbuds plugged in. Oh, wait. First off, kudos to Kyle. I drove through town Sunday morning and he was right out there trying to pick up after the storm. Secondly, how do I keep this echo from happening?
I guess the feedback would come from the mic on my end, but my volume's pretty low on the laptop. You want to try talking again?
Yeah,
How's it sounding now?
let me see. No, there's still an echo. Okay, I'm going to turn my earbuds down a little bit. Okay, secondly, I just wanted to reiterate that Heath from Interstate Parking did not have to be here on Bronc days. The kiosks and go home. He did good. He came around and tried to be a part of the community. This guy has picked up cigarette butts, dog poop, everything else that you could figure out. He's doing well. And that speaks well on the part of the
Hey, Virgil, we're having a hard time hearing you. It sounds like you're breaking up a little bit. And silence usually follows that.
Well, Heath, what he was talking about, Heath, I caught him, there's a picture of him on Facebook, I caught him picking up trash around town.
He's been doing that from the start.
Yep. Yeah, he's picked up, he said over 5-gallon bucket, five-gallon buckets full of trash in the time that he's.
no, they need to go out on.
So while we're waiting for Virgil, I do have one comment regarding the parking on Bronx Day. Our plan didn't really work. So, but it's okay because it was us figuring it out. It's not like it was another group doing it or another organization having an event on the day. So we just have to kind of go back to the drawing board to figure that out.
Now we know, and we'll.
So, yeah, it was just pretty hectic to try to do it that way. And there was a little bit of miscommunication. Some people were just saying, oh, no, don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything at all. After we're like, no, you have to go check in. So it was just a little hectic and the beautiful plan that we had, it's always really good in my head. But it just didn't work as well as we were anticipating. So for whatever next event that wants to try to do something with parking, we'll just have to go to figure a different plan.
All right,
I think I may be back here.
okay, there you are.
Oh, okay. And now I'm not echoing. The fear and loathing in Green Mountain Falls is nothing but yellow journalism. And I will leave that where it's at. We're doing the best we can. The board's doing the best they can. And everything that is put out beyond that, social media and everything else, it's just speculation and observation. That's why I'm wanting the fire mitigation plan put out there, the Cusp matching funds put out there, because like I say, there's 6 people here. It's not getting out to the people who need to mitigate their land, who need to take advantage of the opportunities that are there. And thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Heath. You guys are doing a great job.
All right, we're good, and I agree. People are working hard, and I very much appreciate it. Matt, was there any, and we saw our correspondence, that was for information, we saw that. Any public comment?
I received no advance signups, so I suppose if anybody was interested in commenting, now would be the time to speak up.
Now's the time, if you have something to say. If you have something to say, Andy, you are more than welcome.
Just stand over here.
Sure.
Ann Ash, 6830 Colorado Street. I'd just like to thank you for what you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. It's always nice to hear. It is true. We work hard, try hard, always doing the best we can do. And if we have nothing further, let's adjourn this meeting. Time is 8:45.
15 minutes early.
Oh, yeah. I know, I should get a
I'm
vote.
so excited about that.
All right, very good. Whew.